Oh, Captain, my Captain. That's right, it's Grimm on AFTERBUZZ TV. We're talking about Season 6, Episode 4. 3. Let's go.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey guys, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV for the Grimm After Show. It's pouring in Los Angeles. There's water leaking from the ceiling.
But it can't stop us.
But it can't stop us from talking about Grimm. Yeah!
Episode 3!
Yes, it's episode 3. To clear up any confusion. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Start out with the quote and then introduce ourselves.
Oh, okay. All right, let's do it that way.
Yeah.
This is
You will face yourself again in a moment of terror.
Bam, bam,
All right,
bam.
let's dissolve out this repeating theme.
I like it. Let's have it throughout the whole
I'm
show.
your host,
Yeah.
Zach Wilson. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. And stick around because I'm going to be pronouncing some stuff
new. Yeah, you
later.
are.
I got my fantastic panel here today.
Hello, I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I'm in the chat. And everyone, yes, I am happy.
And I'm Tauri Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. That's TAURIJAY.
Yeah.
Yes, Yell is very happy.
Absolutely.
I'm here.
Yeah, because you're here, Dylan.
Yes.
So good to see you.
Yes. I'm also Dylan Chance.
At Dylan
At
Chance.
Dylan Chance. No numbers, just Dylan Chance. And that's Dylan with 2 L's and
an O-N.
an I. Not DYLOLAN.
Grimm.
Yeah.
All right. There's a bunch to unpack in this episode.
Yes.
Big reaching implications with a lot of moments, a lot of plot lines. Let's start with Renard.
Which Renard?
Let's start with the real one.
Renard.
Yes,
Yes.
where we pick up with him.
There's
doing
Renard and Renick.
No, it's Nick-Renard and Renard.
Because
Renard.
I feel like he is like he's gone to like new levels of like messed up. Especially at the top of this episode. Mm-hmm. I needed to talk about this because at the top he's super rapey.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Very much so.
Thank goodness. Because I was watching it going, am I the only one feeling very uncomfortable and violated?
Like I know Renard has always
what that
been.
voice was.
Yeah, you went southern all of a sudden.
I felt violated.
Oh, you're a belle now.
Yeah.
I'm a Southern Belle.
Yael Tygiel, the
Yeah.
Southern Belle.
Absolutely.
Renard's always walked that line between good and evil
Oh,
on
okay,
this
that
show.
line. Yes.
But this was like a huge step over the line for me to where like I almost like don't find this character redeemable. Like it would take a lot for me to redeem. Like he could do something good, but like as a character, like I will pretty much it's cemented like he's a bad guy.
I feel like what they've done in this episode was give us the motivation that Renard had been missing in the last 2 episodes because we couldn't understand why he was so evil even though Bonaparte was dead. And I feel like what we've learned is that he got a taste of power and realized that's all I want now. And so that power includes power over the woman in his life who happens to be the mother of his child, and the power, at the end when Renard is fighting Nick-Renard and he says, I want to be mayor.
Yeah.
He just really wants all that power, and we finally get that answer of his motivation, which came out rapey.
Yes, very much so. I feel like you hit the nail on the head.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's rare. It's rare that I get something right.
And you get stuff right, plenty.
Rarely.
But like, I wonder if it has something to do with the combination of Zauberbeast and Royal blood, because like him and Diana are the only cases of those two things combining that we know of. That like because the royals, like let's not forget that his dad was a king,
Right.
That grasp for power. And the Zauberbeast / Hexenbeast gene, which we have already established on the show, does make somebody more prone to bad motives.
Right.
I feel like you're looking for an excuse for his behavior.
Well, it doesn't.
And
It's
I
not.
feel like he's just Renard's just a jackass.
I mean, that's true.
It's not an excuse. I'm not trying to let him off the hook for
Right,
this.
right.
But it's more of just like if it's like built into like who he was. Like this was his. Like Diana, there's like we talked in this episode about her, how she was destined to be an important person in the world, like from birth. Was Renard just destined to be a power hungry person, and he needed something to push him into it?
Well, and DNA aside, it's also within his character. Going back to my previous comparisons of him and Vegeta, they're both essentially disgraced royals who are always trying to prove themselves to be the best. And he specifically is this guy who was basically rejected by his family. He has no real power within society, and so the moment he gets a little bit of it, he finds that it's exactly what he's been looking for. It's the validation that he's needed.
So Jaya in the chat says, actually, the Renard they've shown in this episode may be the original Renard and how he's supposed to be before they changed him in season 1. And I think that's true because originally he was the adversary and then turns out he wasn't that evil, but he's always wanted power. And somebody else in the chat says if he's a royal, you'd think being mayor would be pretty small potatoes for him.
That's true. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Right.
I got the sense from like once he got like the way he reacted.
Mayor, king, to the moon!
I got the sense like that he saw mayor as just like the first step. Like this was going to be like, next I'll take on the governorship and then the presidency. Like, although actually he's born overseas, so
Yeah.
can't do that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I got the sense that this was just a step for him. That especially since Black Claw collapsed around him, he had now set his sights on like just gaining power politically.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, while he's over there being a jerk, our team is trying to figure out what to do, and they come up with a plan to use the old witch bong. I see you looking at me because I know I have to do it now.
What is the name of this process
Yeah, what's
when
it called?
when they use the witch bomb?
As soon as I saw it on screen, as soon as they're like, we're going to use it was Nick who said it, right?
Nick said it.
Yeah, and I was
Flawlessly,
like,
I
God,
might
damn.
add.
Yeah,
I
he said it
paused it.
beautifully.
I wrote it down because I'm like, I'm going to have to pronounce
What
this.
is it?
It's the Verfluchte
Keep going.
Zwillingsschwester.
It helps if you try to make it into a song. Try to
The
hit those.
Verfluchte Zwillingsschwester.
Ooh.
Oh.
was nice.
Verfluchte Zwillingsschwester.
Put that diaphragm in there.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Verfluchte Zwillingsschwester.
I
Lean
hear
into the
that
German.
I hear that the Zwilling part means twin and Schwester means sister.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are things that I learned from Twitter. Cannot confirm if they're true. Fake news.
Zwillingsschwester.
Yes.
But so the plan was for Nick to become Renard since Eve is like, I can't do it again.
Well, so I love that Eve was like, I don't know that my body can handle this, and that Adeline was like, I have to watch the kids, and Nick was like, no, I'm gonna do it, and I wanted to be like, Nick, that's so cute, but you know that like in the past you've needed a woman's help. So cute.
I mean, he did regardless. He still needed them to actually do all
Yup.
the work,
Yep.
Right.
or at least do all the spell work.
Yeah.
Although on the other side, he needed a woman to cook it, and then he went out and did all the legwork.
And
Damn,
then
I'm just
girl.
saying,
And then
there's
he needed
multiple
a woman
perspectives.
to help him get out of it because
he
he
did.
was stuck. A little girl is who could help him.
Yep.
Not even anyway, go on.
No, but I'm glad that we got to see Adeline being a little more active this episode,
Yeah.
like going back to like her powerful self that we fell in love with.
One of the great things about this episode having two Renards is because David Giuntoli directed this episode.
Yeah.
So he had to leave. He was like, "This is the perfect episode for me to direct. I'm barely in it." That's great.
That's true.
And he directed beautifully. I
Oh no,
loved
it was great. This is a more than solid episode. It was up there. Like it might be my favorite this season so far. I mean, there's only 3 episodes, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I did really enjoy parts of this episode.
yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to it, Yael.
You mean Renard's portrayal of Nick? I thought it was really good too.
Absolutely. I also loved that when he had to do the changing, when Eve was like, "No, you're gonna tear your clothes. You're gonna Hulk out. You should take your clothes off." And then everybody averted their eyes. It was so adorable.
Yeah, they turned around. I guess his underwear was stretchy enough.
Yeah.
I question that.
I'm sure they wear the same waist. They're probably like, I don't know, let's say like a 34 waist. That sounds about right. It's all different. So like Nick's like a 30, 34, 32, and then Renard's like a 34, 36, something like that. Maybe like a 34, 38, something like that. Very specific.
It looked like he was wearing probably boxer briefs. They're stretchy.
Yeah, totally.
Like the Hulk, moss stretchy.
I just want it noted that I did not participate in this discussion. That is all.
Yeah.
I just
Not
want it
on
noted.
there.
True.
I enjoyed Nick as Renard. I think that
You mean Renard, Sasha as Nick?
yes.
As
I
Renard?
think Sasha did a phenomenal job differentiating
Absolutely.
between Nick and Sean.
Yeah.
Like in the episode. And kudos also has to go to David on the direction, because like the two of them working together wouldn't be how they achieved it. It really, like, you could feel the difference in their performance, like just enough. Like obviously the voices and Nick is like trying to carry that, but there was enough of David's like cadence
Yeah.
in the performances there.
Lydia points out in the chat that he took it off for science.
Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
The magic of science.
Oh my god.
No, but like the scenes, just seeing Sasha playing Nick-Renard was really amazing, and you could see it. Like you felt like you were watching David in a Sasha body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone in the chat was talking about how funny it was when they scared Hank.
Oh, that was literally the next thing on my
Yes.
list, because I had it written down. I was like, I gave you my damn resignation.
And then when he went to like touch him, he was like, "No." So great. Which happened again later when Adeline was like, "I want to hug you, but I don't."
None of this.
None of this. Yeah.
What did you guys think of the plan to basically just go, like, it was the simplest plan, like literally turn into him and just get on camera and be like, I'm abdicating the mayorship of Portland. I'm done. Peace.
I think that was a very clever plan. I really like that he did that. The whole like Nick was undercover thing made me think of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Anybody? So good.
Yeah, it was
know what
really
I'm talking
smart.
about,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
As a host on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after
Yes,
show.
I know what you're talking
Stop spoiling Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know what that was.
I don't either. If you haven't been watching, spoiler alert.
The show about a clandestine organization had a Black Ops plotline.
What?
Shock.
But I thought it was really well done in that, like, he knew all the different ways to tie everything together, as opposed to just going in and being like, I abdicate this, nothing else will change, goodbye. So I thought it was really well thought out, and it also there was another thing I thought about it. I mean, I do not remember what it is.
But what you were saying, piggybacking
Yes.
on what you were saying.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, the idea that he went and said, I'm not taking the mayorship because of this thing that happened in the North Precinct.
Yes.
Because my team was undercover. Because of all of this stuff, I have to stay and handle it. And I can't say anything further because it's an ongoing investigation.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's what it was.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought it was so funny how he was like thanking himself.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
Like patting himself on the back in the biggest way. And I know that he needed to do it, but it was still funny to
Yeah.
listen to.
And I like that it painted Renard into a corner. It made it so he literally had no options short of revealing that Vesson exists. So like So basically like he would just have to
Sorry, finish your thought.
Basically he would just have to either appear super crazy or try to explain how this is a possibility.
Evil twin.
Wasn't that the goal of Black Claw though?
Yeah, but not his goal.
Right, no, so I'm with you. This season we have just abandoned Black Claw's mission. Especially, I mean, we said HW in Portland is gone. Black Claw in Portland is gone. So
If not more, because Bonaparte was the leader of Black Claw, not just Black Claw Portland.
right, but it just tells us that mission seems to not be important or be the sole mission now. Especially, it was never the mission for Renard. Renard joined the team because power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a I'm in Renard's corner kind of guy.
Yeah, he's an opportunist.
Culture Vulture points out, which needs to be said, when Nick-Renard was, when he first was like, it's weird being this tall. It needed to be said.
Yes.
Yes, because that man is a giant. He is huge.
It's true. When we had him on this show, it was just like, hi.
But all of my interviews with him are just my head and my hand.
Yep.
So tall.
Also, Culture Vulture. Good name.
Calm down.
Okay.
Okay.
But so after that, like they go through all this, I thought that the plot line with the lieutenant was well placed.
I loved that it all ended up with, you got blood on my shirt. Yes, that's why you're not captain now. You got blood on my shirt. How dare you?
Yeah, you jerk with your jerk face.
Yeah.
That was a expensive shirt.
I like that from his perspective, that one little detail was enough to throw everything away.
Yep.
Like he's like, you're not going to be mayor anymore. You're just going to be a captain again, all because you got a little blood on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a Lowen, right?
I don't remember.
He had a dark mane, but he looked like the Vesson looked like a Lowen.
Yeah, I feel like he was either a Lowen or a Manticore. One of those two.
He was not a manticore.
We didn't see a tail,
Yeah.
so
Maybe he had it wrapped around his waist. You know,
Maybe.
No.
like all Saiyans.
maybe.
Are we going to talk about the Nick-Renard fight?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Because that was amazing. So first of all, I like that we didn't know, at some points we didn't know who was who.
Yeah,
That was really great.
That can be bad and that can be good, and it was good here because they took off the ties, they took off the only marker of who was who, and then they just started wailing on each other.
There was a line where you'd go, "Oh, that's clearly Nick,"
But then they fight
and
again,
then
and then we
like,
lose
well,
it.
I got nothing.
So we don't even know when a punch lands. We're like,
Yeah.
who? No. No.
Well, so Sasha tweeted out a photo of him and like 7 or 8 stunt doubles. He's still a head taller than all of them. But there were so many of them in this sequence. It was so cool.
Yeah.
I just one minor complaint was that both of the shirts stayed on. And they were unnecessary.
I just had flashbacks to there's a Rick and Morty moment where it's like, all right, there's a guy here who looks just like us, so I'm going to mark each of our foreheads with a red X so that if there's any confusion as to who's who, you'll know we're not the bad guys.
I appreciate that reference.
Yeah.
But I like that we didn't know who to root for. I also like that it basically ended like every brotherly fight in anime. Where it's two bros punching it out, and at the end they're like, "Oh man, fighting isn't gonna solve our problems. Let's talk it out like men."
That's true.
Yeah, that's basically what happened.
But then they talked it out like men, and I don't know if you all noticed this.
You mean how we reset the show?
Yep, we've gone back to where we were.
Where we thought like, oh yes, like last week when we were all like, yeah, they set it up so there were no more procedurals. We're just gonna serialize through the next 10 episodes.
Yep.
Just story. I'll be honest when I say I'm a little disappointed that it looks like we're going back to procedurals.
I agree.
To Vesson of the Weeks.
I feel like the stick and the cloth have so much story in them that we could just do that. And if it was still Nick versus Renard and they were at each other and one was still on the run, we could still have another 10 episodes of that. But I feel like now, not only do Hank and Wu have jobs again, but like Nick has to go and we're going to end up being Vest of the Week. And again, not solving any crimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have an extra bit of tension, so that's nice. But like, it's the same thing with like last year, how lots of stuff was happening around Portland, and like outside of Portland. But like our story is very Portland centric. So if we were to try to investigate where the cloth came from, it would just require us to move too far from our core. So like in that regard, I get why it's procedural. I agree with Zach that like it's a bummer that we are super procedural now. But I feel like it won't last a long time. Like I feel like we'll get some procedural episodes and then they'll just start wrapping everything up.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just for the middle of the season.
Yeah.
It just for the final season, that was why I thought we might just go serialized. Because as much as like some Best of the Week storylines that we've gotten over the course of the show have been amazing.
Yeah.
But it's this being our last season and only having 10 episodes left, I thought we were just gonna like go through like just answers and like question answer.
We still have Adeline's ring to deal with. Eve, what's happening with her, the cloth, the stick.
Yeah.
Where did Trouble go? What's going on with Black Claw and HW? We just have all these questions.
Yeah, what is HW doing around the country? Like, I still love the idea of Vesson being outed.
Yeah.
I would like just because that as a concept seems like fascinating thing to watch unfold, which is why like I'm almost like if Renard had gone out and just like taken the person like I am Zauberbeast and like everyone like everyone's running through the streets.
Yeah, well, because he came out of the press conference that they cornered him, and they were like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I'm not leaving mayorship. I want to be the mayor." And they're like, "You just said that." And he's like, "It wasn't me."
Did you change your tie?
Yeah, I wanted him to be like, "They're Vesson!" Because that would have been so funny.
Live on TV, it's like, there's like animal people like all around Portland, you know, like
that would have been so great.
I'm
insane.
I'm a half witch, half royal, so like
I'm important.
I'm the mayor.
This just in, Captain Renard has gone insane.
That cop's a lion. That other one was a pig, but we fired him.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
And that guy's a Grimm. He's a Grimm. You mean like the Matt Damon movie?
Like his brothers are he's a brother of the Grimms.
Yeah.
Brother Grimm. He wrote books.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Oh God.
I have an unrelated question.
Okay.
Oh.
If as they said, print media is going down in the news because that was
Oh,
heavily
yeah,
featured.
It's like a weird shot.
Where are all of these press people coming from?
Those are
Did you see? They were one of them was just on an iPhone.
Yeah, those are video.
They're all blog people.
That's electronic media.
I guess so.
That's who I hang out with. I know those people. Print media.
I need outlets. I need you to explicitly be like.
One of them was NBC 8.
Oh.
Which I'm guessing is the Portland
Maybe.
affiliate.
That's an assumption. I want to talk about Monroe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just want to say that all of Monroe's lines, as hilarious as they were today, a lot of people were talking about how great Monroe and Adeline were together. Anybody else feel like everything Monroe did and said felt like it was supposed to be written for Bud? It just felt what do I do? I need to get the tie. Which tie? Do I do the red tie? No, Renard's not really a red tie kind of guy. It felt like I was listening to Bud in Monroe's body.
I mean, yeah, it felt like just because those two have such different energies, and Monroe did definitely have a Bud type energy, because like Monroe is typically very laid back, And so, like, it feels like, from a writer's perspective, that they, like, wrote both of them into this episode and were just like, nah, we could just combine these. It's fine.
They wrote both of them and they were like, you know what? We can't pay Danny another day. We're just going to give it to Monroe.
No, I mean, it didn't, I hadn't thought about that. Like, and I can see why you say it sounds like, but it didn't read inauthentic to me. Like,
disagree.
to Monroe. I agree to disagree. It just like he's a little freaked out by everything. Like they're trying to bail on Portland. He's a dad now.
He's not a dad yet.
He's gonna be a dad.
There you go.
But yeah. All right. So the Nick storyline wraps up with the fact that he can't turn back at first. Mm-hmm. Like, no one knows, like, oh, because he's a Grimm, he's not turning back. Like, does this mean he's going to be stuck as Renard? Part of me wanted that to play out for a while.
Yeah, especially because the deal he just made was that there can't be another Renard.
Yeah.
Which would have been so great to, like, have him have to deal with that for a bit.
Yeah. But Diana fixing it was also very interesting. You disagree?
I think it was an obvious choice when he was stuck, but I also feel like there was a great teachable moment there for Diana. Like, she figured out that it was not her dad, and instead of, like, using her words or someone explaining it to her, she hit him. And like, we've had this, you know, this episode where we have the flashback where Kelly says to Nick and Juliet that, like, this child is special and can either be raised great or terrible. And then we have Adeline talking to Renard about how important her education is and what happens if she does this, you know? And so then we had this teachable moment, and I went, no one's going to tell this kid that we don't hit people.
Well, I mean...
I was also, part of me also was like, I wrote down, like, is Nick not going to say, like, thank you?
Right. Also...
all of that could have happened the moment they cut away, guys. Like, the last image we get is her staring Nick down because he's got his arms around her mommy. You know? So, like, after that, they could have been like, honey, we don't hit, and we don't force push people through walls. Like, you know, that kind of stuff.
It's a moment that I think works, especially, like, more if we deal with it as we go.
I just wanted someone to, when she said, you're not my daddy, for her mom to go... the line that she eventually said, which was that Nick was stuck in Daddy's body, like, and we don't hit people. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
It was something like, great, now that I've explained to you what the problem is, you got to understand that we use our words. You say, you're not my daddy, and someone explains to you who he is instead of you hitting him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I agree. And, like...
too much Sunday school teacher?
Yeah.
No, well,
Sorry.
but I get it, because, like, Diana does... she's so powerful. Like, as we see more and more every episode, like, she has powers in this universe that no one else has.
And we're afraid of her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, the fact that she was able to just, like, hold up her... like, to look at Nick and know that he wasn't... he wasn't Sean. That's a big deal. So I think as we see Diana keep progressing, we'll get more and more into, like, what it is that she's fully capable of.
Yeah.
And what she's going to do with it.
Yeah, I just don't like this idea that they're letting her be, right? We know that, like...
She needs to be taught and disciplined,
right,
and,
so,
like, raised like a child, and not... I mean, it's hard when somebody that dangerous.
But
Right.
last episode when Monroe was like, it's amazing that you can do this, and she didn't understand that other people couldn't with the jars. I just think that they're going to stay in fear of this child until they talk to her. And in this episode, for some reason, at 6:30 p.m., everyone was sleeping. And then when they brought her over to the spice shop, she was sleeping. And I'm wondering why this child is always asleep instead of someone talking to her.
It takes a lot of energy to use all those fancy powers.
I had a theory that I had shared with you that she could be essentially projecting herself into the astral plane. So everyone thinks that she's sleeping, but really her spirit is wandering. So that could be a thing.
Sure.
But also kind of circling back to her discipline. I mean, she's been in a state of chaos since the moment she's come back. Like, she was literally kidnapped from her safe house. And then she was forced into this family environment where it was very contentious. Then, she murdered someone. And then, she's finally kind of in a stable situation. I mean, she's going to be shared between Renard and Adeline, but now they can actually kind of put some focus on getting her in a place where she can be better.
I'm concerned about her safety. I'm also concerned about the fact that her mother is with her all day, right? We've established that Adeline isn't working and she was forced to stay in that house. Mm-hmm. So why is the kid always asleep? Why isn't
it's a big house to run around in.
Yeah, but every time we see what she's up to, she was at the park and then she was asleep all day.
Yeah, you run around the park. That's how you get them tired.
She was on the swings.
There's a certain amount that minors can work, and so they can't have her in every scene.
There's that too.
Whatever.
I also want somebody to point out to Diana that because don't forget, she was raised for a while by Kelly, mm-hmm. The grandma Kelly,
Mama Grimm.
Yeah, Mama Grimm, and so. I think that she left Kelly with a favorable impression of her, to point out that that's Nick's mom would help them connect.
Absolutely. Especially because she knows that Nick is Kelly's dad.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not talking to this child, and this is the type of child that throws a tantrum and murders people.
Yeah, you need to open up lines of communication and understanding with her. Yeah. All right. We got to jump over to the other plot line because I need to give Yael enough time,
please,
to talk about this.
Yes.
What other
because
plot line?
At the very end of the episode, Renard is back in his big old mansion by himself.
Before that, the Natalanders will kill us if we don't say Nataland at least 3 times.
Oh, did Nataland stuff happen this episode? Remember when
we skipped over a whole thing?
You're welcome.
Not just with Nataland,
we'll cut back
but on the
my
other
times.
side.
Yes.
Are you okay if we?
Yes, we can
come
cut back
to
on
it?
my time.
Okay. Well, we're not cutting back on your time.
It's fine.
We still got time.
It's fine.
We got 30
Oh, okay. Come on.
Don't hit that clock's wrong. We got 13 minutes.
I'm Diana-ing.
All right. Because there's a very big thing happening.
Yes.
With Eve.
Yes.
And so with Nataland, Nick obviously makes the play for Adeline. When he makes the deal with Renard, he's like, Adeline comes with me. That's a very distinct point. Which of course.
Right.
They're a thing. They're a hashtag. He's got to take her with him. But Eve throughout this episode is showing to me more and more shades of Juliet.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think that when she's like, you love her, and so, are you asking? Or he says, why do you ask? Or whatever he said. She says, I'm not asking.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a question.
She's stating it. And I think that's very Eve. Eve is sensing this and going, I see this.
It's still Eve, but the fact, her saying it, read as, that was, when she got healed by the stick, I think that a piece of Juliet was sort of restored to this, what torture had created as Eve, death and torture, and had created, molded Juliet into Eve as a separate persona. But I think when she got healed, Juliet's starting to come back, and so it wasn't that's Juliet 100%, but because the cadence, you're right, that was very much a way that Eve would say it. But I think that she's starting to have feelings for Nick again.
You think that was her feeling pain because he loves her?
Yes, that's how I saw it.
I disagree.
Well, I don't know if it was necessarily pain, but it was definitely kind of from left field. They were talking about the stick and Nick's addiction to it, and then she just brings it up not so casually. So it's her, I think she's still processing what's going on, but I think it was definitely from a place of Julietness as opposed to her just kind of bringing it up because it was relevant. And you get other moments where she's like, hey, be careful, grab my hand, can I kiss your face? Sorry, I meant I'm Eve. So
We were watching different shows.
no, I think it was subtext. I
I
read
see.
between the
I
lines.
mean,
see.
to me, the show is making the point of like Juliet. I think Juliet is coming back into Eve. We see her access Juliet's memories about Kelly, Mama Grimm.
Yeah.
And just like her behavior, like she seems to be more attached to Nick, and maybe that's something related to the stick directly. But I think that Juliet's memories are starting to affect Eve and really we've talked about it a lot on this. I've said it a lot on this show that like my whole thought on memory as it connects to a person, and I think that once she starts to remember all of Juliet, I think that Eve is going to find herself in a very uncomfortable situation where she has feelings for Nick, but she is not quite the same person that Nick was once with. And since Nick is seeing Adeline right now and he's very happy, what does that do to her?
Yes.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Okay, I hope that that's not the case, because I liked Eve because she wasn't defined by like her relationship to Nick, which is essentially what Juliet was. And so like Eve was her own person, and she was pretty much the most powerful person in the show pre-Diana. And so like I hope that maybe she'll acknowledge that like, hey, I'm both Eve and Juliet. I'm Julievette. But she discovers that aside from like being in love with Nick, and more of just like, hey, I can be who I am and also feel things.
Kendall in the chat says maybe she'll be a whole new person, not Eve, not Juliet, but a combination. And I agree. I think Julieve is where we're headed, and I think that we'll end up with an Eve character who remembers who Juliet was, and says, you know, I had these feelings. I'm aware that I have this history with him, but it doesn't mean anything. Because I agree. I liked that Eve wasn't defined by a man, and that she never needed a man, and that she was better with trouble. And but also I really
I ship it.
yeah, I really like the way that that's going, and especially with the weekly confirmation of Nataland, like when they weren't sure if it was Nick-Renard or Renard, they said, tell me something only we would know. He's like, where was our first kiss? Is it the table, or it was that time I took your powers? Which was, I think, it's their way of going, Nataland is here, calm down. That's what I read it as.
Right, of course.
I mean, that's fair.
Calm down.
And I'm not saying that like Nick is necessarily going to go back to Juliet if that's what Eve becomes, but I think that Eve is going through that struggle right now, and I'm Julieve is going through that struggle. Just as much, I imagine, as Yael is going through a struggle right now.
So much struggling.
Because who was it that showed up at the tail of this episode but Meisner himself?
The ghost of Meisner.
Maybe the ghost. We don't know.
So,
Probably the ghost.
someone from the show told me that no matter what we think, it's not what we think.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I quote, it's not what you think, which could mean anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's run down the possibilities. Renard's seeing things.
Yeah, because
he's gone crazy.
We've clearly established that he is
Guilty.
He's feeling a lot of guilt.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So that is one possibility.
Yes.
He could be a ghost. We've established ghosts or like ghost-like Vessin before on this show,
Okay.
or within Grimm.
Even though we know that he's human.
Yes, but like
Sure, go on.
Yeah.
we also have had non-Vessin like mystical stuff.
Okay.
So it could be a Verfluchtes Zwillenschwester
Oh, yeah?
of Meisner.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah. Remind us?
A what?
It could be a Meisner Verfluchte.
No, what is that? I didn't want you to say it again. I don't speak
it's
German.
the witch bong.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh. Who would witch bong into Meisner?
I don't know. Someone that wants to mess with Renard.
Lieutenant, what's his name? Who's not the captain?
It could be a
That was so
Hex
funny.
and Beast curse of some kind.
Okay.
I guess that's connected to the idea that it could be visions, but like
Yeah.
forcing you to see the person that you killed most
Okay.
recently.
Or he could be immortal and no one knew it.
He's secretly actually a royal,
Yeah.
and
I have heard that rumor.
that Meisner's royal.
Yeah, it may have been just Tauri's
Yeah,
prediction.
I say this all the time. Where the secret, or I think this weekend, I was telling Yael that I think that like this could be the way that they reveal what the royals do. In that, like, we find out that royals are actually immortal, and that's why they're important. And so,
Yeah, but we've killed so many of them.
have we though?
Yes.
Yeah, we killed
It's
a
true.
bunch of them.
Eric, we killed the king.
But it's a question of like in what way are they immortal?
Right.
They can live through gunshot wounds.
Yeah.
Not cars blowing up or drowning, but gunshot wounds.
Yeah, things that keep your body intact. You know,
Sure.
you're in one piece.
Okay.
But it's true that we still haven't really figured out why the royals are what they are, because they can see Vesson. So there's something about royal blood that's important. We know that because season 2, Renard used the fact that he was part royal to help Juliet wake up with like the kiss thing. Like there's something to being a royal. It's not
Right.
just being a human that has power.
Yeah.
There's more to it, and so that would be very interesting to see if it's connected to that.
Pat in the chat says Meisner's a ghost. Cassie says, yep, a ghost. And then JV says Renard's almost certainly under some sort of magical curse effect between killing Meisner and Bonaparte, which is an interesting thought that he killed Meisner, but then he also was forced to kill Bonaparte under Diane's spell of voodoo. Yeah. So maybe that affects him more. Cassie says, I hope Meisner will mess enough with Renard to make him weak as F. Hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. I like the idea of him being a ghost, mostly because we know that, Renard has definitely seen the other side because he's died, or technically died.
And he was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, he was possessed, and now we're doing a lot of underworld stuff.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of being able to see people, at least through Renard's eyes, that have passed away. I also like when people get to work as actors.
Did the stick ever get anywhere near Meisner?
No.
Did Nick? But even as much as
No.
Nick being in the room with him.
No.
Okay.
Like Nick had the stick and then they hugged or something.
I don't know.
No, Nick
Or,
didn't
he
get the
walked
stick.
by
Yeah,
him.
so he didn't get the stick until after they saw that Meisner was dead, and they went back to his place, and then they
Okay.
had the big battle.
All right. I'm trying to think here.
I know. Everyone last season was like, "Bring the stick back to Meisner." For me, thank you.
Or we don't know what the timing is. Eve knew where Nick stashed the stick. What if she took a break,
no,
went
because-
away, took the stick, and found Meisner's body and was like, bam! And then Meisner came back.
It's true.
I don't want that to be the case, but I'm thinking crazy now. All right, we only have 2 minutes left.
Time travel is another theory that's being thrown out.
No.
Meisner's not. It can't be a Meisner from the future. That doesn't make sense.
I feel like we've done our predictions, right?
I disagree.
Do you have more? All right,
Yes.
so quickly, let's do some predictions.
Girl, I got lots to predict.
Now,
All right.
your AfterBuzz
Why,
TV
what do you got to do?
predictions.
All right, predictions.
Yes.
My prediction is
Don't disappoint.
that Meisner is not still alive. That's my prediction, is that he's not still alive. So he's either a ghost, or he's just hallucinations out of guilt, or what's it called?
Damn you, Yael.
Yep, what is it?
Verfluchtes Wischlinschwester.
That was the best one yet.
It's the worst one.
Darth Kal-El says Meisner was dropped into the Lazarus pit. Love
Ah.
it. Good one. Or that Meisner's a robot, says Boo. That's also a good one.
Oh my God.
Either way, I don't think that Meisner is alive, because I think that's weird.
Yes.
Predictions. Nataland is endgame, so calm down. We predicted the Julie Eve.
Yeah, I stand by my prediction on Julie Eve.
I would love it if Diana like aged up to teenage somehow in the next few episodes.
like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
She's 25.
Because then they could talk to her and explain.
She
young
is aging
kid
at an
people.
accelerated rate. Like there's not been 8 years on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, it could be a spell with Meisner. I don't know.
I don't know. I honestly don't know which of all of my crazy theories I like the most.
But I feel like I should announce that thing.
Announce it.
All right, guys. Regardless of what happens in the episodes, because it's the last season, so we're not saying that this person is in the episode because we don't know. But we have to announce that Damian Buckler, that's right, Meisner himself, will be joining us live on the after show for episode 6. Yeah, so episode 6, we don't know if he's in it. We just know that he'll be here. Yeah, that's all. I thought we should announce it.
Yeah.
Because last time we made a surprise, and this time I'm bursting. I have to tell everyone.
So tune in 3 weeks. I guess that would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll have our good old buddy Meisner back on the show.
Yep.
Yael will try to contain herself.
I will definitely.
But she won't be able to.
I will.
All
Get
right.
it together, yeah.
All
I'll
right.
be
Next
good this
week's
time.
episode, the Vestin, they're calling it the El Quegle.
Not the El Kukui.
Quigley.
Because they already did that one.
Yep. It's stealing babies.
Oh, no.
It's all about Monrosalie and their baby.
Yeah. I could take them on Rosalie episode.
Yeah.
All right, and that will be next week. We will be back next week, January 29th. Until then, I want to quickly thank somebody for leaving an iTunes review for us. Dave R223 says, "Can't believe it took me this long to find this podcast. Love the podcast, and you guys are so funny and great. There needs to be more seasons of Grimm to keep this podcast going." I feel like, what if we just we just started doing Grimm fanfic in audio form?
That'd be pretty sweet.
Absolutely. I would write a bunch.
And we just
This
read
person
them
took off
every
their
week.
shirt. And this person took their shirt off.
And then Yellen Meisner.
All right,
run
not
off into
slash
the sunset.
fiction, Yell.
That is all there is in fan fiction.
All right. Anyway, I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. If you like silly cop things, check out my comic book, Kid Cop, that just came out. It's a little mini one. It's on Comixology for only 99 cents.
99 cents.
It's so
What a
cheap.
deal.
Yeah. Get a grande instead of a venti at Starbucks, and then buy Kid Cop. And then be sure to tweet me and let me know what you thought of it.
Depends on the drink.
But yeah, Yael Tygiel.
You can find me everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL, including tonight the finale for season 3 of The Librarians. We have guest Amin El Gamal coming into the studio. If you've seen the episode, you know who that is. If you haven't, watch the episode. Also, I have a podcast. It's called Intimate Interrogations. It is free on iTunes and Stitcher. New episodes every Sunday. There should be a new episode out now. And yep, Damien will be here. Yep, that's my news.
Excellent. I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. It's TURIJAY. Bye-bye.
All right, guys, this has been the Grimm After Show. Thanks for geeking out with us.
Thanks for geeking out with us.
Yeah!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.